coming out of this last 8 years and this misadventure in Iraq, I think there's the story of hope and a way forward that one man embodied. And by telling his story, if we can get that message out, I'm going to be happy. My name is Greg Barker. My film is called Sergio, and it's in the U.S. documentary competition. It's about a guy named Sergio Vieira de Mello. He's like a cross between James Bond and a Bobby Kennedy. I mean, he's incredibly good looking, he's charming, everyone likes him. He's the only sort of guy with the United Nations who actually managed to charm George Bush, even though he began his life, as his sort of professional life, as a radical on the streets of Paris in 1968, throwing stones at police. Who in their right mind would go, as he did, and go talk to the Khmer Rouge and try to find some common ground with them, even though they were war criminals, even though they were responsible for the deaths of 2 million people in their own country. Sergio did that, and as a result was able to resettle 500,000 people, Cambodians who'd been kicked out of their land. And it's really the story of his life through the story of his most dangerous, complicated mission ever. Baghdad in the summer of 2003, right after the war, when a lot of the world's major powers, George Bush, Tony Blair, pressured Sergio personally to take this job and to try to make something out of the post-occupation sort of chaos. One fateful day, August 19th, 2003, we sort of tell the story of his life through the story of the aftermath of a bomb attack by Al-Qaeda. That was the first time ever that the UN had been the target of a terrorist attack, and it was a shock to the UN. And the human drama of what actually went down in the rubble after the bomb goes off just blew me away. It occurred to me that there was a way of telling a much bigger story. It's not about Iraq, it's not even about the UN. It's the story of ultimately it's an inspirational story about hope and the human spirit, told through this very, very tightly constructed story of what happens in the rubble when Sergio is trapped under 3 stories of cement blocks and collapsed ceilings, along with another man, a guy named Gil Loescher, who was an American academic, and 2 extraordinary American soldiers who go down deep into this rubble after several others sort of see the same sort of little hole in the collapsed building and think there's no way in hell that they can go down there. These 2 guys, a guy named Bill and a guy named Andre, and try to save Sergio and try to save Gil. And through that story, it was almost like a microcosm with everything one wants to know about how to view the world and what do we do about people with extreme views. It all sort of comes together through this extraordinary human drama while people are fighting for their lives. But ultimately, the human spirit triumphs. Ultimately, there's hope in this world, and that's what Sergio is about, and that's what this film is about.